Sweet Lord, in case you haven't figured it out already, this video is all about how not to play like Yngwie Malmsteen. My first experience with Yngwie was his Trilogy album. There's another great example of my dad influencing my taste in music when I was a teenager. He had a copy of it, and he handed it to me and he goes, "Check out the cover on this, man. Look at him. Look at him." And there's, Yngwie with his strap trying to slay a three-headed dragon. He's wearing a leopard print, like, coat or vest or something, and, leather pants. And at the time, I was like, who's this guy? He must think pretty highly of himself, right? And my dad just goes, just put on track 9. And I proceeded to put on track 9. And I thought there's clearly something wrong with this CD. It's playing everything at the wrong speed, because no human being alive can play guitar like that. That opening lick of Trilogy Suite is just the most aggressive, charismatic, arrogant, ball-busting thing I've ever heard in my life, and still have to this day. I think the only thing which comes close for me is when you hear Paul Gilbert's Frenzy, like his playing at the start of that, and then there's a few John Sykes things I've heard where it just like, it makes you want to do this, it's just authority. That's what it sounds like. It just sounds like someone who's at the peak of their powers. And Trilogy's peak early Yngwie for me. From what I understand, after Trilogy, he was in quite a nasty car accident, injured his hand. I think he thought he might never play again, and then he kind of got his stuff back together and did the Odyssey album. And on Odyssey, it sounds like his playing has changed. Like his vibrato's not quite as strong. His playing's not quite as fluent. The album after that, which I think is Eclipse, he's sort of back to the peak of his powers. But Odyssey's an odd one for me. I never really liked that album, and his playing, it sounds like he's not at the peak of his powers, but man, Trilogy, he's just burning it up there. It's incredible. So I've never been able to play that lick at the start. There's a lick, sort of the theme 1, I would call it, which is the classic Yngwie run, right? So we're using the harmonic minor scale, and we're starting, you could think of it as Phrygian dominant. Really, it's functioning like G Phrygian dominant, or C harmonic minor. I'm tuned down half a step, by the way, so everything's going to sound one semitone lower, but I'm just going to refer to everything as sort of the key it's played in if you're in standard tuning. So the run is, and this is like the genius of Yngwie, right? It's a lot of players play this stuff and they keep it to like patterns of 6, patterns of 8, so it sounds very rigid and kind of boring. There's... It's very, very predictable, but immediately Yngwie does this cool thing at the start where he kind of slurs 4 notes into the space of 3, so it gives you this like accelerating thing. And a lot of people say like just fast guitar playing does nothing for them, but to me, Yngwie's fast playing is amazing because he manages to build tension in there and then release it when he grabs a note and puts his incredible vibrato on it. Seriously, go and listen to Yngwie and just listen to his vibrato, because he has the most incredible vocal vibrato you've ever heard in your life. It's a beautiful thing. But he uses the speed to build tension the way like a classical violinist or piano player would. So the run is, you're on the 15th fret of the top string. I use my middle finger, my ring finger, and my pinky. And you basically slur a quick hammer on and pull off from 15 to 16 and back to 15, and you pull off to 13. And then he plays 16, 15, 13 on the next ring. So hear that. Da-da-da-da-da. Rather than just... It's... I've got all this delay on as well, but I need the delay to sound good, so I'm going to leave it on there. Then the next notes, this is straight from the harmonic minor scale, 12, 13, 15, 13, 12. So... And to finish the phrase, he grabs the 13th on the G string. All up. Yeah, I love that. Then he repeats it down the octave. So you start on the 12th fret of the G string and you play the same pattern. The notes on the A string are 11 and 10, so you finish on a G note. So it's a beautiful Phrygian dominant run. picking for that, the way I play it anyway, it's down for, then it's up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, which starts you on down again. I hope that makes sense. You can replay that section if you want to do it again slowly. And then there's the relatively straightforward compared to the rest of it pattern that he's playing on the G string. So that's pretty awesome, right? I love that main theme, and when I was learning the song, I tried to learn the intro, couldn't do it, and I learned this section, and that was kind of the introduction to Yngwie for me. For me, there's like 5 or 6 things he does. This is one of them, that particular lick. The other thing would be the sixes pattern. You know, if you're staying in C harmonic minor, the pattern would be, let's do it here. We'll do it 11, 8, 10, 11, 10, 8. So this one. That pattern, then a pattern of 4, which would be, if you just wanted to practice one of them, it would be 11, 8, 10, 11. And a classic Yngwie thing to do, again, this gives you this accelerating feel, which is so critical to his playing. It's building tension, right? You hear a pattern, 4 notes per beat, da 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 da. Then he'll go back down the scale with sixes, da 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 da. So it gives you this. Which is awesome, right? Or you can do it the other way and go down. Or you can start with 4, go to 6, and then do double time 4. So it'd be something like this. Ooh, God help me. Four. 6, 8. Some of Yngwie's rock licks are amazing as well. He's a very, very good straight-up rock guitar player. He's very good at guitar, and I get that he's a larger-than-life personality and people give him a lot of shit for it, but man, the guy can play guitar. He should not sing, he should not self-produce, he should not play drums, he should play guitar. That's what Yngwie does best. He needs, I think, ooh, I heard his latest album, the so-called blues album, and the guitar playing on it's great, I'll give him that, but who cares? He's Yngwie Malmsteen. Who the hell am I? Anyway, that's kind of that's one thing he does, the 4s and the 6s. Obviously, there's a diminished 7th arpeggio stuff, the old play it, move it up 3. And there's that run. And you can kind of do those things if you want to sort of play like Yngwie, which is what I've spent a lot of my time trying to do. Those kind of tricks go a long way. There's obviously the arpeggio stuff as well. With the sweep picking, which he puts together amazingly well. And you know, one thing I like about Yngwie is like he's a technician, but he doesn't worry about it too much. He just plays. Like his instructional video is like the worst thing I've ever seen in my life because he doesn't really know what's going on. He's just developed this incredible style, and he hasn't overanalyzed it. He just goes and does his thing. So I think that's pretty cool. Because he just does it, and he's got an incredible style and an incredible feel, and when you hear him, I would not want to be on a stage with him having to play guitar next to that guy. But anyway, the intro, I had this tab book back in the day, and it was not tabbed correctly, so I've spent like the better part of today trying to figure out what he's doing, and there's this genius little part in it where he's playing the notes from the harmonic minor scale and chucking in the normal 7th you get in a natural minor scale. So you get this. If you're starting down, this is C harmonic minor, so it's 15, 14, 15 on the A string, then 12, 13, 15 on the D, G, and B. That little thing there, which gives you a little bit of chromaticism. From here you go. And I mean, that's such a clever pattern to use. When I was learning guitar, I practiced all my harmonic minor scale shapes and I was like, oh God, they're so awkward. When in reality, mixing it up with a natural minor scale just sounds good. A really good example of this is if you go and have a listen to Alan Holdsworth's song, solo in the song In the Dead of Night by UK. He plays a very similar pattern, and I know Yngwie said he really likes that record. He's actually covered that song, and I wouldn't be surprised if he borrowed from that, even though he would only ever admit to borrowing from Ritchie Blackmore. But you know, you go and listen to Sales of Chiron by the Scorpions, and that's like a proto-Yngwie lick. And anyway, we're getting distracted. So that is the run up the scale, and then you get 11, 13, 15 on the top string, and you come back down. Play a big G, and then the next time you play it, rather than play the pattern around the 12th fret, you just go straight up the natural minor scale and play 13, 15, 16. So you get a little bit higher in the scale. And then this lick kind of goes something like this. This is the way I would play it. You play the same kind of starting lick, but you extend it. So you go 15, 14, 15, 17 on the A string. Then you jump up a position. Now this is like C harmonic minor position 1 starting on the A string. You'd go 18, 17, 15, then run straight up the scale. And it's only taken me like 15 or 16 years to figure out what he's doing there. I still can't play it anywhere near as aggressively as he can. It's kind of like... If I'm being honest, that's enough for me. It kind of sounds like Yngwie, and it connects me with that feeling I had the first time I ever heard Yngwie play. There's a solo off the new Ragdoll record coming up where I've wholeheartedly pinched that lick, the Yngwie run. Little bit of a different phrasing in there, but yeah, it's definitely a sort of tip of the hat to one of my heroes and kind of one of the last gigantic guitar personalities left out there. If you do all these kind of tricks and you practice really hard, chuck on a pair of leather pants, jump around like an absolute maniac, and you too can not play Yngwie Malmsteen licks the way I do. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, chuck me a sub, and I will see you all next time.